never gave a fuck about what anybody told me, man, or what they said about me. I never gave a fuck what anybody said about me, bro. Because if I gave a fuck about what the world thinks of me, I would not think what I have to do for the world. I look at everything I love, I look at everything I hate. And it is a thin line between all of that shit. Love it all, love life. Loyalty is love. I'm loyal to the ones I love, and I love the ones I'm loyal to. Remember that.
We'll never make it this far, and they know. Only the gods. Only the gods. Yeah, only the gods. We'll never make it this far.
1, 2, 3, 4. I like to welcome you.
Wow.
To the world's greatest podcast
Our own theme song.
in the world. Hey! Listen, we had Charismatic Creations, so I thought, man, it's a good charismatic intro.
I love it.
Y'all like that? Y'all like that?
I love it.
So I'm talking about, see, I love the energy. My energy was low before, but now I had to get high.
Yeah, wait.
And we're here. And we have the lovely
Charismatic Creations.
That's where we start. She's been here before. You've seen her before.
Definitely. Or her facial reactions before.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And now she's here to really talk to y'all because now this spotlight's on her. Sorry, hubby. No him this time. This is all wifey now. So we have the queen here, and she's going to talk to us. So let's get straight to it. You are a
Mixologist.
no. Not just that. She's a stylist. It is a
cocktail stylist.
cocktail stylist. That's when I was like, so I need it. So you gotta
She
tell me.
does sell garnishes on the site.
That's what
But
I'm
we wanna
saying.
Get into
That's
that
what I'm.
later.
So talk to me. So before, if you guys do not know, tell us your name.
So my name is Chrissy, and I own Charismatic Creations.
Owned.
And so we are a mobile bar service company. We bottle our own non-alcoholic cocktail mixers, bottle cocktails, barware, glassware, garnishes. We style cocktails for commercial shoots. We help bars develop bar programs.
Mm-hmm.
We do pretty much everything. If you're thinking about cocktails, if you're thinking about like curating an experience that involves drinks.
Okay.
Not an event.
That's what we do. Yes, it's an experience.
I like
Because
that.
whether you are drinking something where the flavor profile is crazy, or you're learning about the spirit that you're drinking, or just everything, or about the history about the spirit you're drinking, it's an experience. And I want people to experience something every time my brand touches their event.
Wow.
So where did this start from? Because like, I went in on the experience, but how do you just go from like, everyone knows a bartender, I feel like.
Yeah.
Everyone knows someone who like thinks they makes drinks, but like how you go from that to an experience, like that's a lot.
To a cocktail stylist.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone heard of a mixologist before.
Yeah.
A cocktail stylist, that's different.
Yeah, so I went to the University of Maryland College of Art.
Shout out Terps.
Go Terps. And so while I was in college, I needed some money so I could buy clothes from Forever 21, and so I could buy bottles, and I just needed
Just live your life.
just live my little life. So I started serving, and then at Fridays in Capitol Heights.
Okay.
When I was 18, so I
Shout out to
started
the
there.
Heights, man.
Shout out to the Heights. I've seen some shit at the Heights.
Now,
so
you can't.
while I was serving,
I'm sorry.
I was just like,
I'm sorry, you can't. You gotta give me your best story at Friday. I gotta hear it. I gotta hear it now.
So-
18 years. Take me back.
okay, so I'm serving there, and so it was a Sunday morning sort of situation. I never worked Sundays, but I was covering somebody's shift, and on one side, I was on the side where the bar was, and so I look over. It's like Sunday after church sort of situation, and all I see.
Football season.
I don't remember.
Okay.
So no, it wasn't like any games playing. Like it was people coming from church or whatever to come eat. And so all I see is like weave in the air. Like people, they were fighting. So something weird happened, and the server was fighting a customer who came back and thought that she stole her car. It was just a weird situation. That was like one of the craziest ones when I was serving there. And I was just like, this is where I'm at. And I'm gonna make it best do, right? And so everybody just called me the college girl because I only worked on the weekends.
Okay.
And then from there, I heard that McCormick and Schmick's on 9th and F were hiring. So I was like,
No gallery breakdown.
let me get some more money.
I like it.
Let me go down there.
Gratuities included in them checks. You mean?
Yes. And then like it's just more of a hustle and bustle. I was like a cocktail server, so happy hour. Everyone knew McCormick and Schmick's happy hour was the best happy hour ever.
Definitely.
So from I want to say 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. it was slam packed. You made money as a cocktail server, right? And the people on the other side of the room, they made money too.
Especially if it's a hockey
Because-
game or something.
Yes, the
I'm not
Capitals.
sure.
Oh
I used to work down
man,
there, so I already
like the
know.
money was crazy as a server too. And so I remember my interview. He wanted to know like if I knew about spirits and stuff, and if I knew about Scotch. And I threw out a fact that like the guy, I told him like Al Pacino's favorite Scotch, and then the general manager's like, oh, I didn't know that. So I was like, I got this.
I like it.
And so I started serving there. When I turned 21, they needed a bartender because it was short staff. So I started bartending there, and then I went from U Street, MGM, DuPont. I went to a few
Not the
places.
best or worst, but what's the most unique bartending experience you've had as a bartender?
I would say, honestly, I really loved the U Street crowd on the weekends. It was like really fast. Everyone's ready to have fun. My regulars loved me. It was like a really unique. U Street is just different. It's like a New Orleans bourbon street.
Okay, I
it's
like
like so it's just like characters. You just seeing the same different kind of characters. It's a turn up sort of thing. So
Is there a weird drink someone asks you to make and you're like, what?
yes. So someone asked me to make a Long Island hold the sour and the Coke. So you wanted vodka, gin, tequila, triple sec,
And that's it.
rum, and that's it? Yes. Okay, so just
That don't even sound good. God knows does that. Man.
yes.
That does not sound good.
Interesting.
Yes.
You only need one of them.
Yeah. And so hold the sour, hold the Coke. And so we just like, okay. And so the triple sec just adds a bit of that. And so, I just went from like just bartending at other people's places, and then I was just like, it's just really time
To do your own
to
thing.
do my own thing. I like to break rules. I like to experiment. I don't want to ask anyone if I could do something. I just want to think about it. If it's a great idea, bounce it off a few people I trust,
Ask
and
for
then go
permission.
for it.
That's not ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask for forgiveness either. I just wanted to do
I
it.
just want to do it.
Yeah, and
I
so
like it.
having my own brand lets me do exactly what I want to do, and I don't really care what anyone has to say about it.
So what year did you form your brand?
2017.
I'm about to say, so where were you as far as like your bartending career? Like, what made sort of that transition happen for you?
I was really upset that, like, I loved to travel at one point, so it really frustrated me that you had to find coverage for your shifts, and then once you find coverage, if your bar manager is a little upset because you keep traveling and they don't put you back on the schedule, you messing up my money.
Sure.
So it's like someone's in control of my income. Oh, let me think about this a little. Let me be in control of my income. So how do I do that? And so I bounced ideas off of my then boyfriend, who is now my fiance. And so we started talking, and he was just like, just do that. Just do that. And so I started buying.
The serial entrepreneur.
Yes, like, because, he's been an entrepreneur for like
Ever.
like a decade. And so just having him being like, you could just do that shit. So I'm just like, I can just do that shit. And so that's really how it started. I started buying, utensils, and at that point, I was not a mixologist. I was just a bartender. So every mixologist is a bartender, but not every bartender is a mixologist.
I learned that at work.
And you gain that. It's not.
Hold on. So explain that to me, because
Yes.
that went over my head. I'm not even going front.
Yes.
That went over my head. So explain that to me.
Nigga, you know.
I get it, but like the way
You be like, you go to a bartender and you be like, I want this cocktail. They make it a certain way and be like, oh, all right, that's a good cocktail. A mixologist, I drink whiskey. I like old fashions.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A mixologist is actually going to like get the real lemon, get the lemon zest, and they gonna peel the motherfucking lemon,
okay.
put the orange peel in that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? All that garnish shit, dress it up, everything.
at the top, you know,
everything she
do the little joint with the
exactly.
scoop, and then boop.
All that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Put
may
little
add a
cherry
little
in the
fire,
jam.
may add a
Exactly.
little
All that.
flair.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Burn a little sugar cube.
But a
in there.
bartender is just gonna make you an old fashioned.
Yes.
Yeah, so a bartender, at the skeleton of mixology, every mixologist is a bartender. Like, that's where you start. You know how to tend bar, basically.
Okay.
You know how to make drinks. You know how to do customer service. Once you get into mixology, because as a bartender, you know the rules. So when you get into mixology, you know how to break them because you already know the rules. So what you learn in bartending is that every like cocktail has the same skeleton, meaning like it has the same measurements to a certain extent. A margarita and a sidecar is the same thing. The only difference is tequila, cognac, and lime juice and lemon juice. But they have the same measurements. You know what I'm saying? So once you get into that, once you know that, then you can start creating not just a regular margarita, but like a hibiscus margarita, or like a margarita with a cardamom syrup, or like a sidecar and add some mumbo sauce. You know, like you start to play around and get real crazy because you know what flavors can match with what things, because
So y'all are
you
like
measure everything.
y'all are like liquid scientists.
We literally are liquid scientists. We're educators. We're therapists. We're everything.
No, that's a fact.
so can you-
Bartenders are very much therapy.
So do you like learn infusion with all that, or is that the next level stuff?
So, I mean, you learn the infusion part because you're always reading, you're always experimenting. And so in 2018, that's when I started bottling my own infusions. Because I wanted to infuse a fruit and an herb and create a syrup that people can use instead of like the sour mixes at the grocery store that are full of preservative. That's why they can sit on the shelf.
Got you. So my next question: what makes you go from hey, I like to make cocktails to like I want to get into like this whole like curation of drinks? Because it seems like it's more than just I make
Yeah.
cocktails. Like you curate liquids at this point.
Yeah.
So like when you said that thing about the syrup, I was like, wow. So like, how does that? Where did that come into? You said 2018, but like, was it just like, hey, I'm just doing shit?
I wanted to become like a household name. So if you can't hire a bartender for your event, I want my brand in your house. And so I was like, how do I do that? Everyone makes cocktails at home or mocktails if you're abstaining. And so I want you to use my cocktail mixer. And so that's why I thought about it. And I grew up with a garden. So I always knew I wanted to do garden to cocktail or farm to cocktail. I knew that was point blank period. So I needed to figure out how to do that.
Time out. I need you to coin that term and run with it. Garden to cocktail?
Yes.
I see it now.
Yes.
Please make that a thing. Make sure, please. That's all I have.
Yeah, like,
Bro,
garden,
that is-
garden in the kitchen.
Bro, that's
yeah,
amazing.
because
Garden
they
to
do
cocktail.
farm to table.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
And so for me, I do garden to cocktail,
That's
farm
amazing.
to cocktail, because I want everything to come from an agricultural part of you. It's fresh, and then you put it in a bottle, and then you experience it. That's what I really want for my brand, and that's not what I want for my brand. That is literally my brand. So I was like, I need to partner with people.
Continue, but I have a question.
Okay. I was like, I need to partner with people. So, Black and brown farmers have the least amount of access to capital. And so we were the original farmers. Hello. So I was like, I need to make sure that I only focus on them. So I started going around the city and in Maryland and meeting Black and brown farmers. And so that's where I get my ingredients from in order to make this liquid gold. And so it's just been something super amazing as how it evolved. Like in the beginning, they weren't really selling because like, how am I going to tell you the cocktail mixer or the cranberry juice or the orange juice that you usually get at the store needs to be replaced? Like, that's hard to do, you know? So, but when you believe in it, I was like, I'm still do it. I would sell 1 or 2 a week. At pop-ups, they would sell out because people are able to taste them. You see what I'm saying? Be like, oh, damn, this is good. Oh, yeah, give me 2 bottles. Yeah, they'd be like, dang, the packaging, oh, this is nice, give me a few. But online, it just really wasn't correlating. 2020 happens, the pandemic, and I'm just like...
virtual experiences.
I started doing virtual experiences, but then I started trying to figure out how to...
I'm talking about like other people.
Oh,
you
yes.
couldn't go outside. And
Zoom meetings, parties.
And then, but I also had to figure out how to connect with people via social media. Instead of my social media being like a portfolio, I needed it to be
a life.
interactive.
Yeah, a life of its own.
Yeah, so I was like, I need to do more videos. I need to craft cocktails and take pictures. I need people to like want this. And like one day I woke up and I think at the beginning of April and I had 40 orders. I was like,
that was the beginning of quarantine.
yeah. So I was like,
Okay.
okay, we about to do this. All right. So I'm like setting up shop in the kitchen like I've always did, but like I gotta get these orders out. Like we gotta go. And so then, like, my mom would come over to help. My niece would come over to help.
Shout out to
and
family.
so, yeah, family's great. And then, you know, it does take a village. Richard be up labeling stuff.
Shout out to Hazie, though.
Yes.
He gonna work.
Great. If it's anything he gonna do,
He gonna work.
He gonna work.
How we gonna put the work in?
Shit. There's some money involved. Shit.
We gonna work.
You
Shit.
about to make, oh.
I'm fucking with you.
And so, like, from there, it just became, like, this, like, wow. And so, let me see. My storytelling, though. So, also in mixology, you start to storytell. You start to tell
Talk to us about
stories.
that. I like
And
that.
so...
You took the question smooth.
okay, sorry. What's your question? I want to answer your question.
All right, so this is like a 2-part question now, because I had 2 different questions. I had my thing lined up. Charles usually take my talking points, but you did it today, so you know what I'm saying. But my first question was the garden to cocktail.
Yeah.
Make sure we hashtag that.
Gotta hashtag that. Anybody, whichever one y'all.
Don't steal that.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
was hers first. Just putting that out there.
Did you go into it intentionally thinking that you wanted to make like a healthy like syrup or mixture? Because
Yes.
like with that being said, like because a lot of like you said preservatives and all that, we tarnishing our body with the syrups and shit we putting in it, and then with you it's like you balancing it out because you got the hibiscus and the ginger and all these other ingredients, rosemary.
Yeah. So it was very, very intentional. Like anything that I have done ever with my business has been always intentional. And people, that's a misconception about. I'm gonna just step aside to a second. Like it's a misconception about people who make drinks. That like when I introduce myself to people, they're like, "Oh, she just make drinks. Oh, she's a mixologist. She just make drinks. She's not about her business." No, I'm about my business first before I'm a mixologist because I'm gonna pay my bills.
For sure.
Like you have to be focused. If my business is not in order, I can't be a creative. And so, like, I was very intentional about it being from garden to cocktail. And I'm not really a holistic person, like, being healthy. Like, I get that and I love that. But I just know flavors taste very different
when they're fresh.
when it's fresh.
Gotcha.
And I wanted I wanted people to experience something on their palate that they have never experienced before. And I knew it only had to come from the ground. But I also knew that I didn't have the time and the ability to grow it myself. Then I also knew the access to capital. Then I also knew that these black and brown farmers also feed people in marginalized areas. So everything is connected. Like in school, I did African American Studies and Public Policy. So I learned about all this stuff, food deserts and mass incarceration. So everything is very intentional. That's why I did that.
Prices for natural things are going up.
Yes, and then the lack of like healthy food in Ward 7 and 8 and Prince George's County, we have to bring that up too.
Commercial.
Yeah, so it's very intentional. It's very intentional as to why I did that.
I forgot it. That answer was so beautiful. It'll probably come back to me.
Yeah.
Drinking. I apologize.
No, I mean, I can't get over just the garden to cocktail. I'm just like, that's just like.
No. So I had fresh ginger.
That
like,
shit is just.
the reason I asked that question
fire.
is because like I had fresh ginger beer one day, and I just had to order a whiskey ginger, and he was like, that comes with like ginger beer, not ginger ale, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he brought me the ginger. Like he was like, I want you to taste the ginger beer. And I tasted the ginger beer. It was like naturally they source it themselves, all that, make it themselves. And I was like,
and that's mixology.
Yeah.
Like there's some restaurants who are spirit forward, who have mixologists who build ginger beer in house. It's root beer in house, and it really starts from them muddling.
I like it.
To, like it's amazing.
So,
And then you taste it, and you like.
my second question, I found it. Do you make dry syrups?
Ooh.
Dry syrups.
Like, all right, so I work.
Pancake syrup?
No, like it's actually like so I work at a place and we do like virtual experiences and whatnot. It's a catering company, and we had a powdered version of syrups, but then they add to like liquor and like all that. But it has all of like the say it might have rose petal or something in it, and like the packet actually comes with it.
Wow,
It's like
no,
the sugar and all of that is already in it, but it's like natural sugar and all those things because we work with mixologists and things like that.
Yeah, no, I don't do anything as far as dry, but everything is like liquid based that I've done.
Third question. I'm Muslim, so it's just I had to ask because it's just like mocktails have really been on my mind lately. It's just like, and I was just I love the fact that you sell your syrup non-alcoholic.
Absolutely.
So why do you do that?
Because inclusivity is really important. So when people say, what's Charismatic Creations? I always say, like, it's an inclusive cocktail experience. And I still use cocktail because the science behind me making it is a cocktail. But the inclusive part helps draw on the part that we also do mocktails.
Okay.
I wanted people to be able to be at a party or at an event and not feel left out and have to drink lemonade. Like that's boring.
Shit.
Like
Or
you can drink. Yeah, you can drink the same. I can make you a mojito. I can muddle it, put my heart into it, and not put any rum in it. Put a premium syrup in there. And it looked like the person you're talking to. Not because you're masking it. You don't want them to know it's not a real mojito, but I don't want anyone to ever feel left out.
I love it.
So mocktail, that's why it's non-alcoholic, because I want people who don't drink to explore. Like, make some fresh lemonade at home, and instead of just regular sugar, add my cocktail mixer. Or make iced tea at home instead of regular sugar, add my cocktail mixer. Or put it in an ice tray, and those cocktail mixers become ice, and they dilute in your lemonade. Like, have fun with your kids. You know what I'm saying? I just want it to be really exclusive. I really want it to be a household name. I want the kid to ask for a mocktail. I want grandpa to ask for a mocktail. I want everyone to ask for my syrup and then drink.
Speaking of household names, you were featured in a New York Times article.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Make some noise for that. That's hard. For your creating of cocktails. Your skills.
Styling.
I'm about to say, make sure you're styling cocktails. So you made the distinction early that you style them, and you said something I thought was interesting about pictures. I think you said like you do it for
Commercial.
Explain that. That's an interesting thing that I haven't heard much when we talk about mixology.
So to your first point, New York Times was like Mama I Made It moment.
For sure.
Like, and to be in New York Times and to be featured, and I was the only black woman company, black company in general,
Facts.
that was featured along with those cocktail mixers, and to be a part of the cocktail mixer renaissance. So 50 years ago when they started making cocktail mixers, they weren't supposed to be good. They just were supposed to make the bartender's life easier. And so to be in an article and it's like the Renaissance, like these new cocktail mixers are for your cocktails and they're made by craftsmen who are bartenders. And so I was just like, oh gosh, wow. So that was like a mama I made it moment.
And you should be proud, as you should, for sure.
Absolutely. And then the styling comes in.
You were way too humble about that, by the way. Just saying.
I mean, you know what?
You couldn't tell
lived
me a
in that
motherfucking thing if I made the motherfucking New York Times.
I mean, you see my Twitter. You see my Twitter name is still that.
You right.
So you know, I mean,
You gotta be who you are, play. You know?
My Twitter name is still Chrissy, featured in the New York Times.
That's a fact.
Spelled out. no NYT. Because when you search me or if you ever post my tweet, it says Chrissy.
New York Times.
So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where I lived on that high for a long time. I still live on it because in 2019 I was like, I need to be featured in an article. I have to be, and that's really another big thing about me. I talk to my ancestors heavily because I know that they push me forward. Like I know my 3,000 grandparents, like when I talk to them, they provide what I need as long as I'm working. Like I believe in that. I believe in that heavily.
I really also want an apology now. Fuck. God damn it.
It's like Charles is going to apologize and it's on record.
God damn it. No, I believe you. I really
believe that. So I do talk things.
We losing recipes
outside. I talk them out loud.
You're an asshole. That was good. That was a good one. That was really good.
Recipes, but no,
shout out to the ancestors.
You got it.
And so I say that in 2019, and then in 2020.
Hey, shout out to New York Times. Y'all know the vibes.
And so for the commercial styling part, I've been hired by some brands to style their spirits in cocktails so they could use them for their national rollout or for photos
like
for
commercials and shit.
Not commercials, but like national rollout for promo.
Ads.
Ads and stuff, pictures for their Instagram, pictures that they would, print real big and put in the liquor stores, like stuff like
when
that.
When they do events,
Yeah, so it'll be like, hey, we have a new spirit being featured. Can you create a cocktail recipe? Ooh. And can you meet us at this location and style it while a photographer takes a picture?
That's interesting. Is there like a particular, not brand, but cocktail or spirit that you like the most, that you feel like makes you more creative, like tequila, gin, anything of that nature?
I really like to work with all spirits, but my favorite spirit is gin.
Ooh. Why?
I love gin. One, that was the first spirit that I had ever crafted, not made a drink, but ever crafted a cocktail with at McCormick and Schmick's.
So explain that, because you made a clear difference between making a drink and crafting. So explain that one to me.
You're a craftsman.
Yes.
Relax. So you said craft. So that was like you said craftsman. So craftswoman.
Craftswoman. Hey man. Hey, first of all, fuck all that sexual shit. If she's a craftsman, she's a craftsman.
I mean,
I feel she's a woman. She's a woman technically. Craftsmanship. Craftswomanship.
You made the distinction. So please explain to us.
So making a drink is just like, for me, when people say, oh, like she make drinks, pause, stop. I don't.
Don't disrespect me.
Yeah, don't disrespect me. Like I craft cocktails. Like
when you correct us and say you corrected me and say mixology.
It's intentionality with everything that you do when you start to craft things. So crafting means I'm using a jigger, I'm measuring out every single aspect of my cocktail, and I'm making sure that I'm using the right amount of ice, because ice is very important in your cocktails, whether it's neat or shaken or stirred. Very important. I know that our culture really hates ice, but in my classes, side note, I try to debunk all those myths about ice, because ice is very important. So I craft cocktails. Yes, I don't just make drinks. I don't just throw shit in there and hope it works. and hope you like it. No, you
That's
gonna
what I
love
do.
that shit.
That's what I know. I didn't throw
You
shit
gonna love
together.
it.
She's not making sure your drink is just strong.
No, it's not important to me because you're gonna get inebriated. If anyone has ever had my cocktails, they've been a little.
So I have a few more questions just about just all of it because I'm so fascinated. Wow.
I love, and like, here's the thing. I love being in spaces and helping people appreciate this craft because growing up, there wasn't like, for me particularly, I can't speak for other people, there wasn't people where you're like, I want to be a bartender. I want to be a mixologist. And so when I'm asked to be an entrepreneur and talk to high schools, or when my nieces and nephews ask me, I am very, very happy to be a hospitality professional. And telling them that, like, I'm out here doing this shit and I'm making a lot of motherfucking money and I'm my own boss, and don't let anybody make you feel like you have to be boxed in because I created my own thing. So I love being in this space. I love talking to people about this. I love when people are intrigued because it's always been this space of, oh, I'm just doing this right now until something falls through. Or I'm just doing this right now because I need an extra job. Or I'm just, no, like, this is all I do all day.
All right, so
Why do they call it spirits?
Oh, you can answer that question. I had enough. You can answer that
Yeah,
question.
his is probably way more deeper. Mine is very basic.
No, I'm not gonna make it too deep because we're having too much fun. And
This is a lot of fun.
And
Yes,
this is good.
we are.
We're not gonna ruin the vibes.
So,
Not today. Not today. Not today.
so the spirits part comes from alchemy and an alchemist.
Oh, okay.
So what alchemists used to do is they used to create things with potions were a spirit. So it comes from just alchemist.
Okay.
In the alchemy practice, and that's why they call them spirits, and we've always called them spirits. And so I also try to use that word in different settings too, because you know that's what we call them, and a lot of people don't know that.
Well, shit. So
I love this.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
So I had one of
It's
those
been
before.
on here since he bought it.
And you know, like we
me see that one?
watch y'all on YouTube,
No, yeah.
and Rich was like, "Hey, babe, they got your," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Since.
And that event,
Before we even booked Rich to come on the jump,
Yeah, these are hard.
Yeah.
I had one at the
that
last
event
last time
was
we
a
went to the
really good
store.
event. So to the experience part, but like curating experiences, that event I called the Traveling Speakeasy. So y'all know what a speakeasy is, right?
I'm trying to go to Speakeasy now. Y'all trying to go to Marriage?
Let's go.
I know about a girl.
Oh, Lord.
You have to calm down.
I apologize.
Put this down.
And so the idea about the Traveling Speakeasy was that I wanted to travel back in time to teach Black people about Hennessy.
Wow.
And why we love it so much. And it's not just a coincidence, and it did not just happen because of hip hop. It happened
Way before.
long time ago. So, you know, that's another thing with the curating the experience. And so you drinking this drink. I chose the graphic because Rupert asked for
Rupert, what a great name.
That's his name on clothing.
I know. One time I was telling these guys if I had a kid, I'm naming Rupert, and they were hating. They were like, "That's not a good name." I was like,
Tell
I
them
don't
which
know.
Rupert you were talking about,
relax.
Charles.
It was at this
No,
point.
no,
It was.
no.
It was when I was all in on
Fuck
the
that.
capitalism.
Be specific.
I'm not as
Be
in on
specific,
now.
nigga.
All white men. So
Be specific.
it's different.
Rupert Murdoch
It was
his
different.
inspiration.
It was different back then. I've changed my ways. I've learned. But let's talk about the
Oh
drinks
my
though.
gosh. Okay.
Rupert's right there though, right?
And
Rupert.
so that's the storytelling that I do.
What? That is a prohibition ass
I
name.
fucks with it. So for me, your cocktails, I've had what makes you
Charles is
like
drunk as shit.
yeah, what makes you just like, yo, this is the cider, because like there always seem to be like the perfect blend of not like tasting alcohol but tasting a drink. So like you said, you're not trying to get people fucked
And they're
up.
perfectly themed.
Yeah, like you're not trying to get people fucked up, but
Yes.
you know they'll get fucked up. So like what goes into like fucked up theme
Taste.
and taste? Like is it all one side, or you just like
Or you and Rich just be in a house after you
Yeah,
make
you
the
just be
concoction,
like, are you
and
trying
he be
shit,
watching
or
Sanford
are you
and Son
deciding
or
like
something,
paper to pad?
and
Like,
it just be like, there you go.
So I write everything down because I believe that when you write it down, it happens. So and then I also and so and then also like I feel like a lot of
no
our
apologies.
I'm not trying to say nothing. He's just like, bro, I'm not trying to owe no more people apologies.
and also just another point like a lot of our history is lost because people didn't write stuff down. And so if anything were to ever happen to me, I want like there to be archival stuff.
Didn't write stuff down, or wasn't able to write stuff down?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Oh yeah, you facts.
Yeah,
Yeah, facts.
You
So they
right.
couldn't write stuff down, and then when we were able to write stuff down,
Sometimes you did it.
we didn't write stuff down. So you know, a lot of things are word of mouth.
That's your
Like,
bullshit.
Oral history. We're big. We're big oral history people.
and so I write everything down, and so how I come up with stuff, it's all about a connection to something. So that cocktail, in college, I would come home, and my mother at one point was dealing with some sort of depression. But when I would come home, she would be watching Claudine. So I would sit down, and we would watch Claudine over and over. Like that, when it would end, we started over. I would make some daiquiris. We would start over, and we would just watch it. So I always knew I had to feature Claudine in one of my cocktails. And the reason why I did Claudine for this event about Hennessy, because Rupert goes to the bar and he asks for Gimme Brown. And back in the day, Brown, and then that's how they asked for their cognac or their bourbon. They would go to the bar and say, Gimme Brown. So that's why I had to feature him then. In this cocktail too. And I also had to feature Hennessy because Black people need to learn about Hennessy. How I come up with recipes, I want to challenge your palate.
Your memory is amazing. I didn't even remember that nigga question. Swear to God. Continue though, please.
And so let me see what's in this cocktail. So this cocktail is Cavassier, Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur, cardamom rose syrup, and fresh lime juice. So I wanted to challenge your palate with cardamom, because cardamom is like kind of savory, because this was November, and it's kind of spicy. So
Wow, that memory is great, because the fact that she said an item and then it was November, she was like, that's how I remember it. That's great.
Certain spices are only good during certain times.
But that's what I'm saying. That's all of
especially freshly grown.
Yeah, and then savory. I wanted it to be savory. And so recently when I did Southside Market, I was like,
amazing though.
What'd you say?
I said they laughed when I said her memory was amazing. And then Charles is like, oh yeah, her memory is amazing.
But the Lincoln, boom, November, it was crazy, bro.
But that's how
it was definitely November when we bought it.
that's how I craft. That's how I think about cocktails. Another cocktail that I did in January was featuring and storytelling about how I grew up always watching Robin Williams. So I did a Robin Williams cocktail. It was called Hello Mellow. And it had toasted marshmallow rosemary syrup. So, like, you wouldn't toast the marshmallow.
That sounds amazing.
In like, the summer. Like, you may do it, but that's something that you would do, like, at a fire pit in the fall and the winter.
Yeah.
When I did Southside Market in May, at the end of May, I was just like, how could I storytell, teach someone something new, and then also challenge people's palates? So I created a Southside margarita, and it featured Marionberry, and it had mumbo sauce in it. And then I did.
Bullshit when you brought mambo sauce earlier.
Mambo sauce?
But you was dead ass?
It had mambo sauce in it?
So it had cognac in it? Or some type of
Oh, no, it was tequila. The tequila reposado. It had a red rose syrup, because the red rose is the flower of DC. It had mumbo sauce in it.
Because that's the food of DC.
And then fresh lime juice, because that's in the margarita.
For sure.
And a citrus liqueur, because that's in the margarita. No, actually, I did a ginger liqueur in that one. So the
I might
spice
have to
from the
fuck
ginger.
around and buy this tomorrow. Y'all had
The
Southside
spice from the
marketing.
ginger.
Right?
No, no, I'm not spice
Oh,
Southside.
my bad.
You just pull up to the store.
Yeah, I'm there tomorrow.
12 through 5.
12.
We know y'all times.
Come on.
We real fans over here, baby. I don't know if y'all know.
y'all
I don't know if y'all know, but we
Fuck
are
with the
real
people,
fans.
bro.
And we pulled up to the store multiple
last time
times.
they told us about black business, so
And
we listen.
And Rich was on our hey,
So
so
we
we about
listen.
black
Yeah,
business. So
make sure I listen. That's
Well,
what
he
I'm
was on
saying.
his ass about black business.
That motherfucker.
And so, everything is really intentional. And then the second cocktail, I featured Pearl Bailey, where she used to tear up the U Street corridor. She was a jazz singer. She wasn't from DC, but she lived in DC for a very long time. And but who knows about Pearl Bailey on a regular basis? But when you buy something from me, I tell you a little bit about it. You drink a really bomb ass cocktail. Your palate experience something that it never experienced before, and then you waiting on the next drop. What else is
For sure.
What else
You've had Will Smith. You've had. Who else have you had? You've had a few.
I've curated 29 different cocktails since August 2020.
So
Hold on, Chan.
that's less than a
Ain't
year.
even 12 months.
I'm about to say that's less than a year.
Because I drop
That's
about
like 8,
2 to 3
right.
to 4 a month.
That's 9.
And they're all different.
know for
Nothing's
sure.
ever repeated.
Ah. I was about to say. I was just about to. I was like, are you off your hubby where you don't repeat shit?
Yes and no. So
Are you
I've
also
had,
simple but effective?
Nah, I'm not simple.
Gotta say, because that was a theme in that nigga.
Yeah, that is the theme right? But so I only repeat things when my customers, quote unquote, bully me in my comments.
that.
We need that again. We need that. In my DMs, we need that.
Nah, that blue
I
jump.
love a person who's gonna listen to the fans.
I forgot the name.
Jim plus me and him.
Slim. That jump, I was looking at the ingredients. Look at me dropping the mic. I was looking at the ingredients. Hey, I was like, damn, that jump was bomb. But I wasn't drinking at the time.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
So sometimes I repeat them, also really based on the customer response and if it just really resonates with me. So I've repeated Flowers for Nanzaki a few times. That was the first cocktail that jump started my storytelling. So last year I was asked to come do a pop-up event, and we had to curate a cocktail, tell a story about it, and then 100% of the proceeds will be donated somewhere. So I donated my proceeds to Martha's Table, and I chose Nanzaki Shenge because in high school I went to a predominantly white boarding school, and so the
Maryland, DC, or
Maryland, Baltimore County.
best of luck.
Well, I made it. by the skin, the hair, some chinny
I
chin.
grew up in Anne Arundel County, so I already know how them motherfuckers.
Yeah, so it was very different as far as being a black girl
Culture shock.
from the city, sort of Suitland, it's
Maryland,
just
PG County area, and then going over that side is just totally different.
it's just totally different. So I was a junior in high school at the time. My theater teacher, amazing white guy, and he really loved Nanzaki Shenge. So he was like, I really want to do this play. The cast has to be all black. Because we did for Color Girls.
Okay.
So the cast had to be all black. We got some pushback from that because the white girls felt excluded. But we still persisted through, and then we had to edit a lot of the monologues because they had cursing in it. So we finally did it, and it was one of the most amazing experiences that I've ever did in my life. And the play is just about the metaphysical dilemma of being a black woman in America.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is high school too.
yeah, this was high school, so it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I took it all in, and the cocktail had to be about my experience with Nanzaki Shenge.
Okay.
And so people loved
Can you
it.
break her down, please? I have somebody in my mind, and I have a question as to the person who I think it is. But can you give a quick background on the person you're talking about?
Yeah, so she was a feminist a playwright. One of her most famous plays was For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide.
Say less. Mm-hmm. Not what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, so and so in that cocktail, I wanted to give her flowers 100%. So it was called Flowers for Nanzaki.
Well,
And so gin is a spirit that's infused with rose and cucumber. I used Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur. I used Domaine de Canton, which is ginger. No flour, but it added a bit of like a spice to it, just a tad spice. I did a pea flower syrup.
Okay.
So that made it so it made it purple. No, it made it blue. Then I added lime juice, which made it purple.
The acidic acids.
And just the color of lime helps.
Green, you right.
Yeah, it helps it to be purple. And then I garnished it with Black Eyed Susans because she died in her Maryland home in 2018, and the Black Eyed Susan is Maryland's.
Yeah.
So you see how you just.
the historian is strong in
I was
you.
about to say
Yes.
that.
The
I was
historian
like,
is
I'm a historian too.
It's very, very strong in you. As a
when you said Pearl Bailey, I was like, damn.
listen, she was just throwing out names,
When she
times,
said Pearl
places.
When she said Pearl Bailey, it made me think about when Cuz in the comments, shout out to you, bro. I don't know your name. But
Yeah,
shout
I
out
know
to
who
you.
you're talking
You comment a lot. And he was just like, we need some DC history.
yeah,
facts.
DC
And
history.
you brought the U Street, and I went home and I was just like, bro. Pearl
That's why when she
Bailey,
mentioned, I was like, the U Street corridor. I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that was
okay.
that was Black Broadway.
Yeah, we know.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that in the
Guys gotta
podcast,
talk with us.
for
We
sure.
do some things like that. But the historian is very strong in you.
Very.
Is that before all of this, or is this part of? Because you said at one point the mixologist is a therapist, a historian. So was this part of your? Hey, this is my job now, or have you always just been intrigued by that and this kind of just falls in line?
I've always been intrigued by history, like forever. I love history.
Don't know where you going if you don't know where
Anybody
you
who fucks with history is my type of person.
I love history. Everything is tied to something, and then like
Shit literally
it's
repeats itself.
just honestly so amazing to read about how the world. Like nothing ever surprises me about how the world interacts with each other now because they've been interacting fucked up forever. So like,
and then we was in a house for a year. So
yeah,
the way
so
we
you
about to
just
interact
and
with each
now
other for the
everyone
next 3
sees.
years is about to be fucked up.
So now everyone literally sees how the world interacts with each other.
Sees.
Literally, they see it now.
Sees.
And so, like, I've always been a historian. I studied wars in high school.
My type of history.
So, like, that was
My type of history.
that's where the love for history started because I studied wars.
You know how I could tell during this interview when you talked about alchemy, like
Yes.
the way you talked
She
about
said
it.
alchemist.
It was like
alchemy. I was like,
it wasn't like, oh yeah, he made spirits. It was like, yo, you don't know what this guy did.
this
Like
nigga's
he
up
was
here
doing
dressing shit up.
potions and like that was a thing. And like you don't really
yeah, all that
Yeah.
right wrist, left wrist.
So like
Scraping the edges.
I just love how like every single small part of my life has been put into my business intentionally, and it just creates something.
You
So
said
like
mixologists and bartenders are storytellers. You are telling stories.
all the time, but I didn't know I could do the storytelling part until last year. Like I haven't fully a full year of tapping into the storytelling part of my life. Well, the mixology life. This is really new to me, and I really love it.
I like it.
I love it a lot. You're
But
very welcome.
I'm so intrigued by like
You didn't have
the
to do
difference
this, but
in
thank
what you do versus bartenders. Because like no shade to the bartenders. I fuck with the bartenders.
Yeah, no shade. I started there.
But somebody who I said something and someone was like, it was you. Was it you who tweeted? I tweeted something. And you were like, the bartender got it wrong. Oh no, it was Diamante. So I was tweeting about tonic water. How you feel about tonic water? Before it's a little sidebar. How you feel about tonic water?
I feel like tonic water, which we also call like quinine.
Yes.
It just has this flavor to it that is just very. Someone who orders a vodka tonic and someone orders a vodka soda are two different people. They taste completely different. different. They are not the same. They are not the same.
Diamante, that was for you. So, with that being said, I fuck with tonic water because that's just my shit.
Okay.
I don't know why I like it.
I fuck with tonic water.
It's just, and I'll drink it by myself. I don't need no.
I'm drinking
Okay.
Perrier right now, baby. Sparkling.
I'll just drink hot water.
Sparkling, yeah.
But for you, like, is there like a certain mixer or thing that's just like, no, can't do, won't do?
Actually, I try to stay away from creamy things. So like a cream liqueur or like I mean,
You using an egg white?
yes, but that is different than like
Yeah, I feel
milk.
what she's saying.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you meant like dairy or some
Yes,
shit like that.
like
okay,
like creamy things
What if-
I
because
definitely
I'm
don't agree.
just.
Milk should not be on.
What about like a coffee? You know, people do like the coffee type of.
I mean, I think all of those things are great.
whiskey
you
and
can
coffee go amazing together, Charles?
yes, there
But
are
there's-
whiskey coffees.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Cafe. Whiskey
Exactly, that's what I'm more so thinking. I
I
went to a
Just
liquor
having
party
one
at
quick.
Georgetown one time, and it was different stations of liquor at each place, and one station was like coffee. It was very weird. I'm just
What's the
saying.
difference between liquor and liqueur?
Yeah, that's another
Yes.
question I had.
Yeah.
So
I think Charles was just like battling with that internally.
okay, so liquor, which is a spirit, has been distilled and then brought up to a certain ABV and then to a certain proof, right?
Can you tell people what ABV is?
Alcoholic beverage, ABV, yeah, alcoholic percentage, basically. And so a liqueur is a distilled spirit, but it's not distilled to a higher proof like a regular vodka. And then they add different flavors. They macerate different fruits, so it's very sweet. They use artificial fruit, sometimes artificial flavoring, but it's like a very it's okay. It's a very sweet sort of additive to your cocktail, and it's alcohol because it's distilled the same way, but just to a lower ABV.
You're not like you get drunk off of it.
No,
you
so
can.
like a triple sec,
You never know. Some people might fuck around.
yeah, some
Depending
yeah,
on their
Yeah,
like
body
some
chemistry,
people
Charles.
drink
that's
like
true. That's true.
Grand Marnier. Some people drink like Grand Marnier on the rocks, which is a liqueur.
That's true.
But it'll take you a bit longer.
That's what I'm saying. That's more.
I'm saying you toasting at that point.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
might as
it's
well
like
drink a mocktail.
it's called like it's kind of like a wine cooler.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, great. How do you feel about wine coolers?
grown-up
Bringing them
wine
up.
cooler
How
is
do you feel about like hard lemonade, like hard mics, that all that type of shit?
Well, I mean,
Hard
I'm
seltzer.
never gonna talk bad about Seagram's coolers because I'm your auntie at the party with the fat legs and my Seagram's. What is it? Jamaica me crazy? I'm gonna drink that at the party. So I love wine coolers. I feel like that's an old 2 hour.
Hey, the little Bahama Mama Joe. Hey, Slim.
I fuck with the Smirnoff Ice joints. You know, them joints.
Hey, nah,
I feel
Charles,
like-
we had a good summer smearing off ice.
saying,
I love wine coolers.
Especially
And like it's
with
an ode
Yes,
to the
sir.
people who
Blackbird.
like drink when we were younger. They drink that when we were younger.
Auntie was cool.
I honestly had my first swig of something was a wine
A
cooler.
wine cooler. A Smirnoff little joint, like
If it,
little hard.
if it was a wine cooler, it was your aunt. If it was a beer, it was your uncle. Straight up.
And I've had wine coolers because of my aunts, and I had tasted beer before because of my dad. So, you know, I like wine coolers. I really don't like Mike's Hard Lemonade that much. I don't know. It just seems I'm either going to be real cheap and do Seagram's or Mad Dog 2020, or I'm going to do something
Rick, is
like
that your influence, the Mad Dog?
no.
That's how I met her, baby. I don't know what you want from me.
No.
I wasn't trying to put that on you. I was just asking.
I don't know what you want from me, man.
That hood.
You know, I was like,
I was
man,
a Kojo.
Hey, chill out. Kojo had one of the best fights in history.
I've
off the
never
Mad
seen a
Dogs,
nigga
man.
crush
That
somebody
shit
off a
was
Mad
lit.
Dog 2020
Told that nigga get out the
But I
yard.
definitely
back
saw
to you.
that. Wow.
So I'm either gonna do a Seagram's wine cooler or a Mad Dog 2020, or I'm gonna
What
do
flavor
like
Mad Dog?
what was that like? With strawberry?
The
red
red
joint.
Okay, I knew it. If you drink the blue, you fired.
I see. Mad Dog 2020 came from me being a broke college student and all of us trying to figure out what would get us to that next level.
Very aware.
And so
That was the Four Loko era.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't do that.
See, that's
Exactly.
what I'm saying.
You would
That's
drink
why I
Mad
made-
Dog
that's
or
why I
Four
made-
Loko?
That's why I was
Me
never
and
going to
Charles-
judge. I was a Four Loko cat.
Shout out to our man Tunji.
Did you get your settlement? Did they?
We used to party. We used to party up there.
I got a great Four Loko story.
Wasn't it some like AC fluid in the
Oh my
drink?
God, that shit's
It
crazy.
was doing something.
Shout out to Brianna Rivas. She's a mom now. But
Charles, don't do this. Don't do
one
this.
day we were
You're
in,
not going to put me
we
on
were
the bus
in the
with you.
McDonald's parking lot. We're in the McDonald's parking lot in Largo.
James, you hit the
We're
J.
in my car.
Yeah.
And I had a Four Loko in the joint. And somebody's, I think you're rolling up a
I
joint.
did. I rolled up in backwards. A chocolate cigarello.
For some reason, I told someone, I said, drop the J in the Four Loko.
I said no, Charles.
and
I'm
what
not doing that.
Did it explode?
No.
Nah, so we dropped it.
To let you know.
And we
the
dried
first
it out.
two inhales were on fire.
And
The
we
flame
and like
would not
when,
go
yeah,
out.
like it
The
wouldn't
flame
like
would
it
not
was just
go
like
out.
so we lighted and I remember we dipped it. I was like, she was like, it's not gonna smoke.
I did not dip it.
We
I
already used the
rolled
whole
it,
chicken in
but
the
I did
car.
not dip
I
it.
dipped it. I was like, yo, we gonna do this. We dry it out.
Charles took
Oh,
the
is
J
this the
out my
millennial
hand.
dipper?
Yeah.
Basically, we dry that shit out and we in the back of my car, hot box it, and that, like he said, it just will not like the flame is just
would
not
not
going
go
out
out,
at
bro.
first.
Like, this
it's
nigga Charles passed the J, and I'm like, bro,
and the
you
joint
know
is
this
like
motherfucker's still
the joint
on
is
fire?
like still not like a big fire, but it's like it's lit, like not like you smoking lit, like
Charles,
no, like
shut the fuck
the
up.
shit is on.
It was a blue flame.
It was.
If you know anything
Shout
about
out to
science,
Brianna Rivas because she was there.
the blue
She
flame is the
remembers this.
hottest flame.
She remembers this.
So I'm smoking a J
Who else was in the
that
car?
has a
It was
blue
like, who was
flame.
in the
Charles,
car?
we're not gonna throw people's names under the bus. They're
There was
all
one more
moms
person
now.
in the
They're
car.
all moms now.
There was two more people.
They're moms
it's
now.
us three and two more people.
They are moms now.
Revis, you were in the car. Shout out to you.
Charles is messy. This is why we don't give him tequila.
She was in the car. She was in the car. Was she not in the car?
Give him more.
Was she in the car? Was she in the car? Yes or no?
Said you was in the car.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
They're all moms now, Charles. That's all that matters.
And
One's
so
not a mom
also,
now.
this is why I love the spirits industry. Did you see how that like one thing brought you somewhere
Right?
that
That's
you
true.
love the most?
That's
Like
true.
that's
You
why
talking about Mad Dog and went to Four Loko.
and that's why my
was
tagline
an era.
is like a great night never started with a salad. That's my tagline.
You ain't never tell no motherfucking lies, man. The hell?
Listen, she got the fucking quarter point.
That's the name of this
From
episode.
Yeah.
That's the name of this episode.
What was time?
Hey, good night. Ain't never
great-
stop with no damn.
No, not a good night.
Great night.
No, you don't say it. Go for
A
it, Chrissy.
great night never started with a salad.
End the
Goddamn
episode right there. Ain't
salad.
nothing else to be said.
And
A
if-
great night never started with a salad.
And it might have ended bad because you
Ate the
only
salad.
ate salad.
You hear me?
A great
And
night.
so you got all these mixes floating around with lettuce.
Listen.
James.
You motherfuckers be eating like
I am a
rabbits.
testament.
Fuck that shit. Stop eating like rabbits. Get you some liquor. Charismatic Creations. That's all we talk about. That makes some fucking noise. A great night never started with a salad. Listen, it's your plan, this gospel. Honestly.
Nah, truly.
And that's why I love spirits, because that one instance took you back somewhere far, and it took you back to a spot where you was like, oh my gosh, I love this. And so that's why like I infuse flavors, and like a cocktail that you may taste like a Jolly Rancher, and you remember that time going to the ice cream truck getting Jolly Rancher. You know, it just brings you back. So that's why it's always curating an experience, because that experience may not be in the place where you're drinking, but it may take you back somewhere that you had a really great time.
Nice.
And you like, dang, this cocktail good. Man, I remember. And then you created another memory.
Last time I got drunk, me and Shirley was with my cousin, country ass cousin. That shit was awesome.
I was gonna.
Were you drinking moonshine?
No, but we were drinking whiskey before they got to the bar we were at, and then they asked us what we were drinking. We told them whiskey, and he said, "Okay, bet." Shots of Patron, and we were like, "Hold on,
That's a different type of energy.
that's not at all what I said."
Well, hold on. But before we finish, We got a little too ahead of. That was a great ending, but I can't end it there.
Charles, I was not gonna let you end it.
You have to look in the.
We're
camera.
having fun.
You have to look in the camera. Straight in the camera. And tell them something. Only you. This is you. Your fans. New York Times. Remember. Tell them one thing
and
that
she
you want
was
them
on
to
New
know.
York Times within 2 years of her actually being like, I'm gonna do this shit.
Remember, she talked to the ancestors, y'all. I'm sorry, I
really
apologize
do.
to some of y'all.
She really manifested it. Like a lot of
Yeah,
y'all
literally.
be talking about manifestation, but she actually manifested
Don't
this
be
shit.
that guy.
I'ma be that guy.
One thing, say it to the camera. Only you, not him, me. We're all.
I ain't saying
Oh,
shit.
it's all you.
What am I saying?
Whatever you want.
This is for you. This is from you to them. This is
Yes.
you.
So I want you all to know that a black man taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey.
Nearest.
Uncle Nearest Green.
Hey, listen.
Ain't he from Maryland? He was born in Maryland.
How many gems is she gonna
He was
drop
sold
today?
into slavery in Maryland.
She's
Somehow
3 for
found his
3
way
on
to
the-
North Carolina.
I thought she was
Found
3
his
for
way
3
to
on the
Tennessee.
gems. She's
and
3 for
then
3 on the gems.
He was no longer a slave when he got to Tennessee. He was actually a field hand, and he worked in the jump. So he was now no longer a slave. So if they ever tell you that Uncle Nearest Green was a slave when he made Jack Daniels, that's a motherfucking
Yeah,
lie.
no,
He's
so
getting
he was a field hand, still owned by someone where he distilled whiskey for. That guy, I don't know his name, he sold his land, his distillery,
Jack Daniels family.
to the Jack Daniels family, and Uncle Nearest Green stayed.
Yeah.
So
And they
he
bought his
stayed
recipe.
and he taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey. And we only call him Uncle is the same reason why we call Aunt Jemima because it was black people. Yes, but no, there were black people who were people that they liked. So they called black people who they liked Aunt and Uncle. Nearest Green was like 28.
Yeah.
He wasn't old, but he was Jack Daniels' uncle. So he taught him how to distill whiskey. So when you think about how Tennessee whiskey tastes, it was because of
A black?
man, and that is called the Lincoln County process.
And Lynchburg, Tennessee, his family is one of the richest families in that city and the state as well. I did my research on
Who,
it.
Uncle Nearest?
Yeah.
Yep, and his great-great-granddaughter is the one who is the master blender of Uncle Nearest.
I follow all 4 of them.
Yeah, 1884. Her name's Victoria.
Yeah, I follow her. I follow
It's
Faye.
only right she gave y'all a history fact to
And see,
live
here's
off.
the
It's nothing
thing.
but women
Here's-
that run Uncle Nearest though.
Yes,
No, I'm
and
saying
here's the
history
thing. Let's call it a spade a spade. They weren't picking their cotton.
No.
They weren't making their food. They weren't breastfeeding their kids. So
No.
why was they distilling their
And
own
the
spirits?
and the ingredients that they were making to age, blend, and all that for their spirits came from where we came from.
Yep. And so
I
I
went deep.
just
I was trying to keep it, but I knew she was gonna give us a history fact. But
I mean,
you took it deep.
we just have to.
I brought Uncle Nearest on the show, bro. I got a bottle of that for my birthday. And
did?
I
Perfect.
Uncle Nearest is fire. I love it.
That shit
1884.
is,
Yeah, 1884, and 1884 is really important as
Teach
the
us more.
spirit
Teach us.
because that was the date that they believed that he would have been considered a full human, not what is it called, 2/3
yeah,
or 1/3,
2/3.
2/3
of a human.
2/3 of a human. 1884 was the date when Uncle Nearest Green would have been. He didn't make it to that date, but would have been a full black human.
Citizen.
So that date is really important.
In a southern state of
Historian,
Tennessee.
mixologist, therapist. Listen, y'all don't pay her enough. Her
Hey, son,
hour,
what do y'all want from us, bro?
the hourly rate has to go up.
Oh, you must
he
not have
goes
seen
at-
her race on her website, my nigga.
Listen, pay the rate.
You ain't must not have
Pay the rate.
First of
Oh,
all,
I got one
if
more
you
question,
want if you want an experience, my nigga,
That's exactly gonna be my last question. Mobile bartending. Like, how does that? Like, how do you like? What's the vibes?
hey Charles.
So I have a team. I have a team.
What are the vibes?
And when people hire us, they hire us for all different kind of events, private, corporate, social. So your weddings, birthday parties. We've done a baptism. after party. We've
chill
done
out.
1-year-old birthday
Hey,
parties.
P, we might need her for the B-Day party, P. We might need her for the B-Day party.
We've done corporate events. We do store events. We've been hired by like Macy's, Madewell, stuff like that. So J. Crew.
You're not about to.
I don't know if we can get the Macy's rate, but you know.
Nigga, the Madewell rate? I ain't got that either.
Give us the come on
You ever been to Madewell?
podcast.
Shit, I $80 jeans.
I done see what they be selling at Macy's.
Nigga, they got Polo, Ralph Lauren. You know what I'm saying? Not the assassination. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know it's association now?
I do, but if assassination sounds way better. Like, the fuck?
Man, this
You
is
on a horse?
I like when we can have fun and also be good. Those times we have fun is just random, but this is actually fun and good. And you learn life lessons, history lessons as well. So, can you be upset?
No, you can't. This is mixology.
What more do y'all
This
want
is
from us?
mixology. Damn, she got some quotables, motherfucker. God damn.
Endless bars.
That was bars. Fire on the ass.
Nah, for real. She Conway the Machine is Jim.
Ooh.
So who do you listen to, musical wise? And where does your inspiration come from for these new drinks? Because I know,
Like, yeah, when you, I was
and
about to say, when you
and
make
hubby-
it, when you make it drinks, what are you listening to?
Because like you and hubby don't repeat things, but y'all also have different types of inspirations. Like for him, it's his family, things like that, and like he tells stories through artwork,
His
or his shirts and
experiences,
his experience, things like that. So like, how do you actually break down your story when you get to cocktails and things like that? Because you explained the one with your mom and things like that. So
Everything that I've put out thus far has like a little bit of connection to me. I want people to learn a bit about me through these people that I highlight because they're intentional, and then learn a bit about these people. So as far as music, I love Beyonce.
Okay.
Like I listen to Jay-Z.
I ain't mad at that. I like
Let's see, I love Dom Kennedy.
we know.
Let's see. I listen to music on the shuffle. Ari Lennox,
okay, shout out
stuff
to
like
Ari.
that. When I'm really like
Listen,
working
we just doing stuff.
in the yeah.
You feel me though?
You
Yeah,
have to
for
relax.
sure.
You gotta relax. You have to calm
She
down.
agreed though.
I
So
know
like,
she
who's the
agreed.
worst?
No,
She in her bag. She in her
For
Birkin. She's really in her
That little
Birkin.
apartment doing things.
you have to be.
I listen to Ari
keep going.
Lennox.
Keep
bro.
It's the new apartment.
Yes. I just got my new
Apartment. Not just an apartment.
The new.
Apartment.
What you talking about? Shout out to Ari Lennox. Hey,
Yeah, shout out to Ari
come on the
Lennox.
show.
Come on the show, visit my warehouse. You know what I'm saying?
For the
You know
vibes.
what I'm
She
saying?
live out.
Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Come.
Stop off. You ain't doing shit.
Yeah. So I listen to these people, but when I'm in the thick of it,
Mm-hmm.
I am watching The Real Housewives,
Of
Atlanta.
Okay, I'm gonna say that's the real motivation right there.
So even if it's just not,
Nene, the
I'm
legend.
focused on it, but it's just like
It's in
in
your
the
background.
Portion now.
it's like something about chaos gets the juices flowing.
you know what?
So I'm just like,
See,
To
I
be
said
honest,
portion.
can you give me? Can you send me some joints to watch because I'm off of politics. Like that shit is so 2020.
You watch Salt Lake?
That's what I was going to ask
Oh,
you. So
Salt Lake is
that's-
crazy.
all right.
Salt Lake is
Can we
ridiculous.
start like a group so we can like really get into the thick of things? Like I need to get
you
carried.
have to start. So
what
I
I'm saying.
started Atlanta over
Okay.
from season 1.
All right.
It's crazy how
That's
this
what I'm saying.
podcast
Send me
just
links.
went from
Let's
mixology
work.
to
Let's work as
housewives.
a collective because this politics shit is mad whack. Like let's get some good drama.
Yeah,
some
I
solid
used to
good
be
drama.
really into politics, but
That's what I'm
then
saying.
like
I'm off of that shit.
it just became
off of that
soap
shit.
operas.
That's what I'm saying. I'm off of
And
that
so
shit.
I would
Real
rather
Housewives.
watch.
That's what I'm saying. Real Housewives me. Real Housewives me. That. You know what? Fuck y'all. We the Real Housewives.
Yeah, we are.
Salt Lake City is
And I don't want it
bet.
to ever
Bet.
stop. Like I will be watching Real Housewives, any franchise, honestly,
With
until until Bravo ends it.
You know
I'm
what?
gonna just
Also, I'm a
watch
fan
it.
of Love After Lockup. So like, if
I don't watch that.
I ain't get that far.
I'm just trying to tell y'all, y'all need some debauchery.
That's really
If y'all
that's
need,
a lot of debauchery.
if you need some
Nigga,
debauchery.
If Matt
If
agrees,
you need some debauchery, I'm
It's
trying to
OC.
tell you, and you just want to watch.
That's a
Listen,
lot
I'm here for a lot of white mess, and if you want some white mess, that's some
would
good
rather
white
watch,
mess.
like-
put your white mess on it.
My nigga,
I can fuck with
it is
that.
only white mess.
I would rather watch
it's a
like
few black
white
brothers.
rich mess, not white trailer
Oh
trash
man, nah,
mess.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite type of mess.
Poor white people.
Poor white people, my favorite type of.
I don't want to watch
I
them.
need that.
I need.
I need
The
that.
last
If
time
that's
I
the new era of racism, I need that.
I need more of that.
The last time I watched something that was like trailer trash was like Honey Boo Boo.
Oh, she comes on next. Like she's
right after.
Mama June. Shout out to Mama June.
Shorty said she was smoking crack to lose weight. We have gotten away from this interview.
Listen, we are losing recipes. We're losing recipes. This is fun. Like you see what we this is fun. This is fun. You gotta. This is
time I walk off camera, you doing a lot.
All right. We gotta end this. We gotta end this correctly.
All right, you gotta reel it in, baby.
All right. So I swear this is so much fun. Now I have more questions and I have more. All right, I'm gonna stop. For the people who want to find out about you, who want to book you, who want mobile bartending, how can they contact you?
So you can follow us on social media, Instagram at Charismatic Creations, Facebook Charismatic Creations Charismatic Creations LLC. The website is charismaticcreationsevents.com. And then...
And it's spelled the way it sounds. Like the
Yes,
regular
it
way.
is.
There's not none of that bougie wild ghetto shit.
Charismatic Creations.
There's no 3 for E. There's no 0 for O. None of that wild shit.
I hate you.
Straight up.
It's what
Yes,
it is.
and like all the rates are on the website if you have any questions before submitting an inquiry. And then...
Like, please don't be a haggler. No, I'm not tagging her.
It's the bars. I thought I had bars.
That's my guy.
And if you need like cocktail inspiration or want to learn a little bit about cocktails, just follow the Instagram. We drop some gems. And also just like support Black businesses and support Black and brown farmers. Because the United States put Black farmers out of business. All right.
That's how you end it.
And that's why they killed. Because he wasn't fucking with that shit. He flat out said that the Middle West was out here bamming the fuck out, and they was out here paying white farmers not to farm, and the black farmers, they took their land. In Virginia, they doing the same thing out Loudoun County. Nigga, I ain't trying to hear that shit.
And the USDA is a racist organization.
Oh my God.
All right.
The sirens are running. The sirens are running.
Cut the mic.
The sirens are running. You guys are fools.
Jesus.
Listen, I love an episode where I'm not talking to politics. That's what I love.